Hi, this is the Utah Defender again, and I have some more information. The names before you right now are the 5 officers that were involved in and I'm going to call it like I want to, I have freedom of speech, that were involved in the premeditated assassination of Chase Allen. These are the names of the officers. Why in the hell should we give them protection from not knowing their names? And the Chase family, everybody has, to let you know, the Chase family has been receiving death threats and really sordid phone calls to them. You need to know that. So why am I going to let the police officers, as the cowards they are, hide without identifying who they are? I don't know Pence's name, but those are the other names. In addition to that, which I really like this part, I told you about KSL having somebody within their organization that was related to Taylor Jacobson, one of the people that murdered Chase or assassinated him. And it wasn't KSL. So in that part, I'll apologize to KSL, but I'm not going to apologize for the part that they keep harping on qualified immunity, and they bring up the mom's story, and they bring up the son's story, and they bring up the dad's story. Pretty soon they're going to have the dog and cat where they were driving the car. That's how ridiculous it is. So Matthew Jacobson is related in some fashion to Taylor Jacobson. And the news media has been spreading this crap back and forth between them on that it's all about qualified immunity. And that is the reason why they want to harp on that is because they're trying to divert your attention from the fact that this was a premeditated assassination. And again, I'm going to retract that the gun was on the center console. I really looked at it and I realized it was the e-brake. And I want to repeat the timeline once again so that you know this. This is another thing that none of those news people at the chief Johnson, who tampered with evidence by trying to show you this cops playing videos about what happened. And so the timeline from the time that he knocked on the window, 23 seconds, he calls for a backup. Why? Because they knew this was a member of the Allen family. In 2.5 minutes, you have a sergeant and 3 other officers show up on scene. I'm going to tell you, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. This was all pre-planned. That's why they got there so quick. That's why this officer went unhinged in 23 seconds. And then in 2.5 minutes, they show up. And in 4 minutes, Chase Allen is illegally pulled out of the vehicle. Under Pennsylvania versus Mims, if the man presents himself as a threat to the police officer, he can pull them out of the vehicle. And it's overused by law enforcement officers, as it was in this point. And again, if you watch the videos and not listen to the news media, you watch the videos for yourself, he is always cordial. Chase was cordial. He asserted his Fifth Amendment rights. He tried to explain the law to the officer in a cordial manner. And that officer didn't care what he was saying. He would interrupt him, talk over him. So he didn't care what he had to say. He wasn't going to listen to a citizen explain his rights. The officers were in control of this traffic stop. They're the guilty ones. They control the traffic stop. And the officer that pulled Chase over escalated the traffic stop by going in 23 seconds for backup. He didn't show a gun. He didn't say anything threatening. He was very cordial, as the young man was. And the problem was inside this head. Maybe this officer is mentally ill. Or maybe this officer is part of a group that are allegedly targeting this family for the federal lawsuit that the mother took out. And again, you have to know you have to know that they have been harassing and following this family around, and they were in fear for their lives so much that they went in twos. And unfortunately, that day, this young man went up to the to the post office. So there was no probable cause under Pennsylvania versus Sims that he was a threat at any time prior to pulling him out of the car. That's the only reason why he could pull him out of the car. And there was no probable cause. So this was an unlawful move by that officer that first pulled him over. Unknown to the people watching this video, the sergeant that went into the car would have never came out of that car, because he would have been, if that gun was drawn and pointed, either Chase would have fired off a round and killed him, or there would have been a struggle. You didn't see that because he never pulled his gun. All they did is see a holster. So are we supposed to think that because we tell the officer, hey, I have a concealed carry, and then he's going to pull out the car and shoot us to death like this? Because I have no other reason not to expect that that's what they're going to do because of this example here. So all of us have a concealed carry and we want to wear our holster on our hip, they're just going to shoot us to death like they did him? So there would have been a struggle, which there wasn't, or he would have shot the police officer. And you didn't see that, did you? There wasn't any of that. The officer that pulled this young man over has got to be the most stupidest person in that law enforcement agency with Farmington PD. The most untrained, the most dumbest, because he did everything wrong. We are citizens of this country. We have rights. But because this Neanderthal thought because he had a badge and gun, he thought he could pull him out of the car, which he couldn't, because he didn't present himself as a threat. He violated his First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, and he violated his Fifth Amendment right. So again, what you're looking at right now is the 5 names of the police officers. And I've verified all their addresses. I know where they live. And again, how about that conspiracy with Matthew Jacobson and Taylor Jacobson? Spreading the word, trying to make us think that this was an unruly young man. And the videotapes say different. I'm sorry. And the other thing that really upsets me is the fact that in a video of raw footage, the sergeant's video cam is turned off and all you get to see is white. They tampered with this stuff. And ask yourself, who in the heck gave the police department the right to tamper with evidence before there's ever a trial and cops blame everything? And again, he wasn't going for his gun when he transferred his phone to the other side. And what happened to the phone? Let's ask about that. Where's that kid's phone? Think about that. Where's that phone? Police got it. They're trying to get into it. And the other thing you have to ask yourself is the blood. Where's the blood? I'm not going to let these police officers hide. The family can't hide. The family's taking insults from people on the telephone. They're being threatened. Thank you, Farmington Police Department, the cowards you are, that you don't even afford the family to say their piece on it, and that you come out as soon as you can. And there ain't going to be no one that's going to tell me you guys didn't doctor the body cams up and you didn't turn them off, because it happened. So you can write Matthew Jacobson at KUTV and ask him, gee, are you the one that's related to Taylor Jacobson? And you guys are pumping this sovereign citizen crap so it diverts us from the fact that I can tell you which one of these officers right now made the traffic stop, but I'm not going to. The chicken shit bastard. That's what he is. These are the Farmington Five that murdered an innocent man. One other thing I'll talk about is when Chase handed him a passport, another thing it shows you it's premeditated is that he gave him an official U.S. passport, and he said, oh, you gave me a phony one. Get out of the car. That has his full name in there and his date of birth. All that chicken shit bastard had to do is walk back to his vehicle and find out who he was. He could have found out who he was. He could have ran the VIN number and found out who the car was previously registered and who it was registered to. He didn't do that, did he? No, because he wanted to kill him. That's the bottom line of all this. Everything, the good people are outraged because this is a murder. And the people that support the police don't know a stinking thing. They just go, oh, the cops are always right. Obey, obey. Well, we got a saying, back the blue until it happens to you. Back the blue until they beat the hell out of you. Or back the blue until they murder you. And that's what they did to poor Chase Allen. I'm not going to let his life just vanish. He had a purpose to his life here on earth. He was a great kid, a great human being. I can't say about these 5 police officers, especially the idiot that knocked on his window. Totally unhinged. Everything points to the fact that this was a premeditated assassination of a young man that they were all pissed off at and pissed off at their family. And you know, I hope the mother takes that judge. He has a judicial immunity. Don't you love that? They all have immunity. They're above us. They can't be prosecuted. And then they can crap on us in a court of law and not know the law. I hope she slaps him with a lawsuit because she violated. This is indirectly a violation. He's culpable for this kid being gone. The judge is. Because if he would have taken the time to study it, he would have found out, like the guy in Texas, the guy in California, and the guy in Washington all made case law. And this has been ruled on state Supreme Courts and the Supreme Court of the land. Again, all this officer that pulled him over had to do is go back, de-escalate the situation. Based on the information from the passport and the VIN number, he could have wrote a ticket to the vehicle and handed it to Chase, and Chase would have been on his way. But they were hell-bent on murdering this kid or beating the hell out of him. And unfortunately, he had a gun, but he never pointed at anybody. You will never find one of these cameras that these police have on, unless they doctor it, where he pointed the gun or ever took it out. And that gun was staged to make you think he pulled his gun out. They pulled the gun out of his holster after they shot the hell out of him. That's what they did. This ain't going away, and I'm going to be right up their ass the whole time. And you people in Farmington, you better start working on getting rid of that chief of police, because he's a piece of crap. He's a liar. And all this cop spraying is going to come back to bite them all in the ass. I'm sorry for my dog. She always cries because she thinks I'm upset, and I'm not, and I love her. And you people better get a grip, because these thugs are going to be on your police department and Farmington Police Department. Yeah. So those are the names. I easily found all their addresses. I'm not going to divulge your addresses, but I want you to know who they are, because these are murderers. And you people in Farmington better do something about it. All of them are guilty of first-degree murder. If we really dig and the justice system is true, they'll find out this was premeditated murder. And it was an assassination of a young man who was kind, considerate to his community. That's all I have to say for right now. I appreciate you listening, and God bless you.